Oh, g'day mate, I'm Anthony here, and I just wanted to tell you a little bit about the port through the head for the EGR system. Okay, so we've talked about the EGR system before in other videos, so we're not going to go into too much detail of its operation. Like I always say, your best bet is to go back and watch those videos, get all the information, it all sort of comes together. Now, this, again, we're trying to remember, some people are familiar with heads and engines and what these are, and some people aren't. So to put it simple, this is your inlet side of the engine where the air goes in, hopefully clean filtered air, okay, goes in, okay, and then you have your combustion process taking place around about here, and then back out these valves. So it comes in through the valves and then back out those valves, out the ports. There's 4 ports at this side. You don't really need to see them. They look similar to those. Doesn't really matter, but there's only 4 here. You've got 2 per cylinder. That's another story. We'll get to that another day. But the EGR system needs to get its exhaust gases from somewhere. So Toyota have come up with this really reliable system where you don't have to have an external pipe. And look, some people have got this theory that the internal is causing a problem by having that exhaust port in there, but right next to it you've got this massive big, it's surrounded by coolant basically, right? So the heat transfer thing with alloy and the coolant being surrounding right next to it sort of thing, it's not going to really make any difference whatsoever, I believe. And if you understand when you EGR, this is where the EGR system draws out this hole this way to feed the EGR system exhaust gas recirculation, right? So the port from the exhaust side through the head and out this side, okay? Now, that system only operates when you're off the accelerator or lightly accelerating. It does operate quite a lot, so don't get me wrong, but when you're into it, when you're accelerating quite moderately and firmly, when the engine's making heat, the EGR system's shut. We've never seen a stuck open EGR valve on a 1KD. We've seen a lot of them. Doesn't mean there can't be one, but we've seen a lot, and we talk to a lot of people. We hear about a lot of different problems, and we never ever even heard of an EGR valve sticking open on a 1KD. Okay, so if the EGR valve stuck open, this would constantly draw those exhaust gases, and I still don't think it would make any difference because, as we pointed out, it's surrounded by coolant. The coolant's flowing just as fast. You know, if the engine's hot and it's making heat, the thermostat's open and the coolant's flowing fast. And this is why I say don't worry about EGTs too much, because while your EGTs are going up from what's happening here, the big bang, the coolant that's surrounding everything is going up almost as fast. Okay, so let's say for every 10 degrees of exhaust gas temperature, you might get half a degree at your coolant temp. So if you're watching your coolant temp and it's 85, 86, beautiful. You're cruising along, your exhaust temps are probably 350, whatever, no worries. Just putting some ballpark figures out there, okay? If you're into it a bit, you know, might be 400, 500 degrees here, you might be 87 or 88 at the coolant temperature. If you're into it quite a lot, you could be making 550 here, I guess. I don't know, again, just putting some figures out there. We don't study and sit there and watch the EGTs. And we don't bother even to have one in our car for the exact reason I'm explaining now, which I've just added this little bit of information into this video about the EGR drawing. So normal operating temperature is up to 90 degrees is what's considered normal with these vehicles. So I would suggest when it hits 90, understand if you're seeing 92, 95, 100 and over 100, that's your coolant here, right? Everywhere the coolant is, you know, in here, around that port, around these, everything, right? And around the cylinder, we'll go and have a look at the block in a minute. That's that getting really hot, so then it's not as effective doing its job, okay? But what I'm trying to say is there's still a massive amount of coolant around there, so it doesn't matter if this is 300, 400, 500. When you're working the engine, this is shut, the EGR valve's shut, there's no exhaust gases being drawn through there, okay? And it's not going to get pushed into there because it can't flow because it's shut, right? Now, you know, a lot of people have even got that plate with a 7mm hole in place, so that reduces the flow most of the time anyway, which seems to work really well. We're not saying whether it's legal or not, that's a separate thing. You need to, depending on what state, territory, country you're in, you need to, some countries don't even have the EGR system and this isn't relevant. The point to this video mainly was to say that we've never seen an EGR valve stuck open. With the flow of exhaust gases through here, we don't believe that it's making any heat that's going to affect anything with the combustion or the engine itself. If you're seeing a lot of failures at number one, it's well, it's not a lot, it's a few a year apparently, not many, out of hundreds of thousands of engines. It's probably more to do with the blocked oil pickup, you know, the one that you just replace every 100,000 Ks because it's only 50 bucks. Well, that won't work. You need to check at every service, or you need to replace the injectors and those seats at the right intervals we recommend in other videos to avoid that problem with the blocked oil pickup, because oil starvation is what will damage pistons, and you see it a lot at number one when you've got that blocked oil pickup and the piston's just dragging down and it just goes to pieces, okay? So I would suggest the heat is from the lack of lubrication and lack of oil from those squirters, not to do with this port here, really. You know, there's millions of these. Anyway, I hope you get what I mean. Heaps of cooling there, and when the engine's making its heat, EGR system is shut, and we've never seen an EGR valve stuck open on a 1KD, and we've never heard anyone, a lot of people contact us with all their problems, nobody's ever told us about an EGR valve being stuck open. So you know how it is, you know, if you've got any questions, you know, don't give me a call, no, give me a call. I mean, look, don't watch one video and give me a call, watch all the videos and you won't need to give me a call, okay? Please, hopefully you understand we're very busy here, believe it or not, and if we had to take a call for 10 minutes from all of you to explain something that's already in a video, we're just going to be on the phone all day. So we can't take those calls. You do need to text, and we'll obviously sort through them and prioritize and call people back as required. If you do want to buy any of those parts, like the injector kits and stuff we talk about in our other videos, you do need to shoot me a text or give me a call for that one. Okay, let's have a look at the block. Let's go and have a look at that. All right, so this is the block, you know. Everything looks normal to me, you know. Obviously the port for the EGR would be, you know, it's in front of the head here somewhere. Obviously it's not directly above the cylinder, it's in front of it up here somewhere, surrounded by coolant, you know, coolant flowing through these, lots of these places, plenty of flow of coolant and everything. It takes care of all the heat, you know, it stays at the right temperature. We've got a coolant temperature sensor right there on the front of the head. Happy days. How can that heat from that exhaust port get through the coolant and make any difference whatsoever to the port? You know what I mean? That the exhaust, you know, the EGR port. You know what I mean? Surrounded by coolant. So how's it going to get through the port, through the coolant? And there is right in front of the head there. Should we go and have a look at the coolant temperature sensor port on the head? Yeah, let's go and have a look at that. All right, so here's the head. You've seen the port. Let's just get the torch actually and just show you this. Show you this before or not, I don't know. Here we go. It's hard to get the light in there and get it all happening on the right angle and everything, but about there, wasn't it? No, I don't know. Give me a sec. Patience. Patience, people. Patience. We'll get there, maybe. Maybe not. I don't know. Yeah, it's not bad. There's the port anyway. Let's go and have a look at the... That's for the coolant, right? The coolant one. You can see it like wraps around that. Right, that's right down in there. There's a whole heap of coolant surrounding that, right? Now let's have a look on the front of the head, right? Let's come up here to the front of the head. Let me get this, work this camera right. Okay, so front of the head, there it is. Right, so the port for the exhaust gases is right there. And right at the front of the head, see that hole there? That's where the coolant temperature sensor goes, right? That big hole right in the middle of the picture, right? Let's get you the picture, right? That's the size of the head. There's the port on the side there, goes straight in, and right there the coolant temperature sensor. So the hottest coolant is going to be there, is what has been said by some people. Is that right? Because there's an exhaust port, so all the heat, that port's surrounded in coolant. But we still only see normal coolant temperatures there. So how can any temperature that makes any difference to this engine whatsoever get through that EGR port, through coolant, to affect this combustion engine piston or anything? No, it can't, can it? So like I said, it's the blocked oil pickup that you threw away, and you got the new one for 50 bucks and you put that on, but you still had blow by at the injectors, and the oil pickup still blocked up 10,000 k's later, and the engine got starved of oil, and bada bing. What happens when you're not lubricating the engine? Yeah, the pistons get hot, the water the oil squirters, yeah, And mate, you know what? A bit of lubrication for the piston and rings and everything going up and down. No, none of that. What's going to happen? Yeah, the piston's sort of dragging and falling to pieces, and all the bits end up on top. Anyway, that's what I think's going on, guys. I hope some of that makes sense to you. You can see the port there. You can see the coolant temperature sensor right next to it. There's the hole right there. See, you can see it goes through. Bada bing, bada boom. Make up your own mind if it's a crock or not. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. See ya.